Sometimes, the voice in your head feels like a trusted friend. You're walking alone, thinking about your plans, and it gently chimes in, okay, step 1, fix your sleep. Then finish that project. Then, maybe, finally, breathe. And you nod quietly, because that voice knows you. It remembers your failures, your to-do lists, your goals. It sounds like you. Same tone, same pace. So it must be you, right? But that's where the illusion begins. Because sometimes, that same voice becomes sharp. Suddenly, it's not planning, it's punishing. You're still not good enough. Why haven't you fixed this yet? Everyone else seems ahead. What's wrong with you? And you listen. You let it speak, uninterrupted, because it's always been there, since childhood. Since those moments you were told, that's not how you're supposed to act. Or, be quiet. Don't be difficult. You didn't fight it. You absorbed it. And somewhere along the way, the voice became yours. But it's not you. It's your history. It's your wounds, your fears, your parents' anxieties. It's a patchwork of every time you were shamed, dismissed, silenced. It took all of that and began narrating your life through its lens. So when you hesitate to speak in a room full of people, that's not instinct, that's conditioning. When you cancel a goal before even trying, that's not realism. That's your inner critic rehearsing old trauma. The voice is quick. It references the past like a lawyer in a courtroom. It pulls out every time you failed, every time you were rejected, and says, see, don't try again. You think you're being cautious. You think you're being wise, but maybe you're just being controlled. Controlled not by a villain, but by a mental echo. A voice that plays your life back on repeat and calls it truth. And here's the dangerous part. Because it sounds like you never challenge it. You don't say, hey, where did that thought come from? Or, why do I always assume the worst? Or, who told me I had to be perfect to be loved? You just go along like it's a GPS for your life. But what if that GPS is stuck on past destinations only? Every new opportunity, every relationship, every risk filtered through a voice that only trusts the past. And the more you listen without awareness, the more the voice decides for you. It picks your friends. It picks your goals. It even decides when to feel joy and when to withhold it. Until one day you wake up and realize you've been living a life narrated by fear, not by freedom. But here's the twist. That voice isn't always malicious. Sometimes it wants to help. It says, don't dream too big. I don't want you to be disappointed. Or, don't trust too fast. Remember what happened last time? It protects in its own way. But when protection turns into paralysis, when caution turns into constant fear, then that voice has become a prison. It disguises itself as maturity. It says, "Be realistic," when you dare to hope. It calls itself wisdom when it's really just a memory of past pain dressed in logic. Let's be honest. How many things have you not done? Not because they were impossible, but because your inner voice convinced you that you were. You had the energy. You had the vision. You even had the plan. But the voice said, "No one like you has ever pulled this off." And you believed it. It doesn't always scream. Sometimes it whispers, especially in the quiet moments, before a big decision, after a small mistake. Late at night, when you replay conversations you wish you handled differently, it becomes background noise, a constant hum of hesitation. And that's when it's most dangerous, when you stop noticing it. Because when you stop noticing it, it becomes you. But here's something strange. Sometimes in rare moments, you catch it in the act. You hear the voice say, "You're a failure." And something inside replies, "Wait, who decided that?" That moment, that flicker of awareness, that's the beginning of everything. Because somewhere beneath that noise, there is you, the one who hears the voice, the one who notices the pattern, the one who pauses and says, "Wait, do I actually believe this?" That quiet observer, the one before thought. That's where your freedom begins. And once you tap into that awareness, something amazing happens. You no longer obey every thought that passes through your mind. You begin to choose. You choose which voice to trust. You choose what beliefs to carry. You choose whether the past still dictates your next step. You begin to rebuild your inner world, brick by brick, not from fear, but from presence, not from trauma, but from truth. So next time that voice speaks, don't try to silence it. Just watch it. Ask, whose voice is this? What does it want me to believe? And do I still want to believe that? Because in that pause, that sacred tiny space between thought and response, you begin. Not as a reaction, not as a replay, but as a conscious force. And from that space, you can finally take your life back. If you found value in this exploration and you enjoy content that dives into philosophy, psychology, and the art of self-mastery, feel free to subscribe and join us on this journey.